It's the Dog Dads bringing you the Barkology Dog News, where you go to hear the hottest dog news out there.
The news, hype, research, tales, health, events, science, diet, friends. It's the Barkology News.
And we're back with the Barkology Dog News. What's up, Greg? How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Fantastic.
Except for I'm dodging the coronavirus like a fucking plague. Because it is.
Yeah, well, you know what? As long as you're healthy, I think you're going to be fine. But as long as you're not really old and, you know, have shitty health.
Speaking of the coronavirus,
yeah,
Scott, tell me a little bit about dogs and the coronavirus.
No idea. I'm sure they can carry it, but I don't know if they can pass it along to humans. I have no idea, really, to be honest with you.
I would assume by a story that I read from a legitimate source that dogs in China have reported to have the coronavirus inside their nasal passages and their ears.
Interesting.
However, they show no symptoms of having it.
So somehow they like filter it out in their ears and nose prior to it getting like into your respiratory system, and they don't have any symptoms.
So somehow it doesn't like attach to their immune system or their body. It just kind of like a booger just hangs out in their nose.
I heard
like dust or something.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a
but
human,
you can still get it from your dog.
Oh shit! So they can actually pass it along to you.
If your dog has it, and then your dog makes out with you, you will get sick.
Yeah, if you start eating your dog's asshole, you get sick. Sorry
about God. That. All right, so tell us what else is going on in the news other than you eat your dog's butthole.
Yeah, so we got a couple good stories today. I was looking at the dog food recall. There wasn't anything too crazy to watch out for. Obviously, always be careful with certain dog foods, especially some of the raw stuff. Watch out for salmonella.
I hate hearing this shit, dude.
I know, hear it everywhere. But I did stumble upon a pretty interesting story. I haven't read it yet. I just kind of read the intro.
And how do you know it's interesting?
Because of that first sentence. It sucks, and it might be clickbait. Let's find out.
Stupido.
All right, so when you think of fetch, though, with your dog, Greg, I mean, some dogs get it, some don't.
Mine doesn't.
Yours doesn't?
Doesn't bring it back.
He's a golden retriever.
Yep. I know.
Okay. So I found this story, but I'll read it off. But it's very interesting because it not only involves dogs, but it involves their predecessors, the wolves.
Ooh.
All right, so when it comes to playing a game of fetch, many dogs are naturals, unlike Greg's dog. But now researchers report that the remarkable ability to interpret human social communicative cues that enables a dog to go for a ball and then bring it back also exists in wolves. In this story, actually, I'll just give a little shout out. It appears in the Journal of Eye Science back in January. All right, so the findings were made serendipitously. Why even use that word? Who uses that word in real life?
I don't know.
It's too many syllables.
You got to throw a word in there, you know?
Were made serendipitously when researchers tested 13 wolf puppies from 3 different litters in a behavioral test battery designed to assess various behaviors in young dog puppies. During this series of tests, 3 8-week-old wolf puppies spontaneously showed interest in a ball and returned it to the perfect stranger upon encouragement. Interesting. Okay. The discovery comes as a surprise because it had been hypothesized that the cognitive abilities necessary to understand cues given by a human, such as those required for a game of fetch, arose in dogs only after humans domesticated them at least 15,000 years ago. Okay. Well, if you think about it, I mean, we're domesticating wolves for a long time. I mean, that's how dogs
became dogs.
Evolved, right? So, okay.
Dogs.
So maybe the wolves we have today aren't even like full-bred wolves. You know, we've almost bred them down.
Don't know.
I have no idea.
I'm not a genealogist.
All right. So in quotes, when I saw the first wolf puppy retrieving the ball, I literally got goosebumps. Says Christina Hansen, Wheat of Stockholm University, Sweden. Wheat. Christina Hansen Wheat. She has multiple last names. It was so unexpected, and I immediately knew that this meant that if a variation in human-directed play behavior exists in wolves, this behavior could have been a potential target for early selective pressures exerted during dog domestication. So
pick the one that fetches the best.
Yeah, they were like, hey, if we're going to breed with wolves, let's look at these puppies and see which one likes to actually retrieve shit for us.
You know what? It would make a lot of sense. You just think of like, all of a sudden we had a wolf and then we made it this cute cuddly thing. It's not true. They probably cavemen and the first people,
tried to breed with wolves themselves.
Probably bred them for like hunting qualities or retrieving qualities or like protection qualities versus just like being a cuddly cute fucking chihuahua.
Yeah,
they're not cuddly. They're
that
just
is
vicious
so
killers.
insane that's the same thing as a wolf. All right, so Hanson Wheat is interested in understanding how domestication affects behavior. To study this, she and her team raised wolf and dog puppies from the age of 10 days and put them through various behavioral tests. In one of those tests, a person the pup does not know throws a tennis ball across the room and, without the benefit of any prior experience or training, encourages the puppy to get it and bring it back. So I mean,
Do they
tough.
reward the puppy?
Possibly. I'm not sure. Let me keep reading. The researchers never really expected wolf pups to catch on. In fact, the first 2 wolf litters they worked with showed little to no interest in balls, let alone retrieving one. They thought little of it at the time. It was what they have expected after all. So they're like, fuck it. They're not interested. They just want to go hunt shit.
Like my dog.
Yeah, but he's not going and hunting shit. He's like, maybe I'll lick my balls today. Maybe I'll lick my taint.
Yep, he does that a lot.
That is until they tested the 3rd wolf litter, and some of the puppies not only went for the ball, but also responded to the social cues given by the unfamiliar person and brought it back. It was very surprising, in quotes, that we had wolves actually retrieving the ball, said Hanson. I did not expect that. I did not think any of us did. It was especially surprising that the wolves retrieved the ball for a person they had never met before. So that's like, I mean,
I've got some questions on this study, but keep reading.
Hey, you know what? Hanson Wheat adds that similarities between dogs and wolves can tell us something about where the behavior we see in our dogs comes from. And while it was a surprise to see the wolf puppy playing fetch and connecting with a person in that way, she says, in retrospect, it also makes sense. Wolf puppies, in quotes, showing human-directed behavior could have had a selective advantage in early stages of dog domestication, she says. Her team will now continue to work with the data they have collected over the course of 3 years, hand-raising wolves and dogs under identical conditions to learn even more about their behavioral differences and similarities. And this is all being done over at Stockholm University. I mean, it's kind of cool, though. I mean, although, I have some questions as well.
Like, what are the controls on this study?
I mean, they're obviously maintaining the same conditions, but it's cool to see that, hey, maybe that, like you said, at some point, this would be beneficial, to start breeding domestic dogs with wolves to try to get some sort of outcome.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I'd like to know what this, what the controls are. Like, obviously they are, but if you just put a wolf in a room with nothing in it and throw a ball, chances are one's gonna go and get it.
Is it food? Is it food?
So I don't know. I'm not buying that one. But if you're out in the wild, like we'll see.
Who knows? Yeah, but it's also interesting that a majority didn't even show any interest, and then there's a few that are like, "Hey, I'll go get this and bring it back." It's something in their genes.
Yeah.
So
could be.
That was the story I had. What do you have for today, Greg?
Yeah, I have an exciting tale.
All right.
So here we go. New sense discovered in dog noses, the ability to detect heat.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
Does that remind you of anything?
Heat-seeking missile dogs.
Ooh.
Is that a thing?
Laser beams on their head. No.
Okay.
The Predator.
Oh, shit. Yeah. I mean, obviously you saw an infrared. Yeah. Get to the chopper now.
Right. So dogs' noses just got a bit more amazing. Not only are they up to 1 million times more sensitive than ours, they can sense weak thermal radiation.
Holy shit.
The body heat of mammalians? Mammalians prey. A new study reveals they find helps explain. Oh, Jesus Christ. The find help explains how canines with impaired sight, hearing, or smell can still hunt successfully. Okay.
Cool.
It's a fascinating discovery, says Mark Bekoff, an ethologist. Experts...
Ethologist?
I don't know what that is.
Is it etiologist or ethologist?
Ethologist.
Okay. Not sure what it is.
All right. Expert on canine sniffing and Professor Emeritus at the University of Colorado Boulder, who was not involved in the study. It provides yet another window into the sensory worlds of dogs' highly involved cold noses. Interesting.
Very cool.
The ability to sense weak radiation heat is known in only a handful of animals: black fire beetles, certain snakes, and one species of mammals, the common vampire bat, all of which use it to hunt prey. So they're not the only things that can do it.
Very cool.
All right. Most mammals have naked, smooth skin on the tip of their noses, around the nostrils, an area called the rhinaria. But dogs' rhinaria are moist, colder than the ambient temperature, and richly endowed with nerves, all of which suggest the ability to detect not just smell, but heat. To test the idea, researchers at Lund University and Itvov Lorand University, I have no idea where that is, trained 3 pet dogs to choose between a warm, 31 degrees Celsius, and an ambient temperature object, each placed 1.6 meters away. The dogs weren't able to see or smell the difference between these objects. Scientists could only detect the difference by touching the surfaces. After training, the dogs were tested on their skill in double-blind experiments. All 3 successfully detected the objects emitting weak thermal radiation. The scientists revealed today in Scientific Reports.
Okay.
So, pretty cool.
Sweet stuff.
All right. Next, the researchers scanned the brains of 13 pet dogs of various breeds in functional magnetic resonance imaging.
Resonance imaging. It's just an MRI.
MRI.
Yeah, it's an MRI, bro.
I hate people. All right. Scanner while presenting the pooches with objects emitting neutral or weak thermal radiation. The left somatosensory cortex? Did I say that right?
You're probably pretty close. Somatic?
Somatosensory cortex in dogs' brains, which deliver inputs from the nose, was more responsive to the warm thermal stimulus than the neutral one.
So they're technically doing like a functional MRI. So basically what that means is they're introducing a stimulus, the heat, whatever thermal it is, to their nose, and then they're seeing if those whatever smell receptors, whatever they are in your brain, are lighting up on the MRI. Yeah.
I don't know. You're the medical guy. I'm the numbers guy.
So that's
thanks for clarifying.
That's what's happening, I think.
All right. The scientists identified a cluster of 14 voxels, 3D pixels.
Okay.
Don't know what those are. In this region of the dog's left hemispheres, but didn't find any clusters in the right, and none in any part of the dog's brains in response to the neutral stimulus. I have no idea what's going on, but all I'm reading is a bunch of tests that they're doing to find out that dogs can detect heat.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only way you would really be able to find out, because you can't ask them. You're like, hey, buddy, you notice it? Like,
is it warm in here?
Can you smell this thermal energy coming at you? No, they're not going to respond to you. You got to.
Maybe that's why dogs like crotches.
Maybe that's why I love assholes.
Nice and warm.
Oh no! But have you ever if you ever been given your girlfriend or girls out there, have you ever been giving your boyfriend a back rub, and if you're laying on your stomach and you're kind of straddling your partner, giving them a back rub, the heat that radiates from the gooch and butt area is unreal. You know what I mean?
Substantial
amount. Yeah.
Don't know where you're going with this.
That's all I had to say.
All right. Together, the 2 experiments showed, not the 2 experiments that Scott talked about. Together, the 2 experiments showed that dogs, like vampire bats, can sense weak hot spots, and that a specific region of their brains is activated by this infrared radiation. The scientists say they suspect dogs inherited the ability from their ancestors. The gray wolf is a lord of...
The gray wolf? What?
Yeah.
I couldn't understand.
God damn it.
The gray wolf?
Yeah.
What about it? I couldn't understand what your question was.
I don't know. I'm blanking, dude.
What are you thinking of? The gray wolf?
The movie.
Into the Gray.
No, dude.
The Gray.
No.
Liam Neeson.
Yes. That's what I'm thinking of. All right. So they inherited I'm such an idiot. All right. Their ability from the ancestors, the gray wolf, who may use it to sniff out warm bodies during that hunt. Yeah, sorry, I have not had food today, and it is 1:00.
Yeah, you need some fuel to that brain,
whoa!
bro.
So, can't survive on coffee, people. All right, here's some quotes from a fucking guy. The study is consistent with other research that describes the combined dog nose and brain as a sophisticated platform for processing a broad range of signals, says Gary Skittles. No, his name's Settles, but I thought Skittles was cooler.
Good name.
So Skittles, an emeritus professor. Why do they lowercase this? I don't know what that is. All right, anyways, of mechanical engineering at Pennsylvania State University Park, who has studied dog sniffing abilities. He doubts, however, that the dog's rhinarium can distinguish patterns of hot and cold objects at a distance.
Sick.
Suggesting dogs' thermal detection may not be useful for long distance hunting. That needs further studies.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
That makes sense. So they can probably detect it relatively close because it's so sensitive, but it's not like, hey, man, shot down a bird 100 yards away. Go find it with your nose, because they don't do that.
Maybe they could.
They can even do it with whistles and hand signals,
they still need to test it.
All right.
If nothing else, the work suggests the extraordinary skill of the sled dog buck who tracked prey, not by sight or sound or smell, but by some other subtle sense. The Jack London's Call of the Wild aren't completely fictional after all.
All right. Sweet. Well, that's cool.
You ever read that book?
Call of the Wild?
Mm-hmm. Jack London?
I don't know.
I got through the first chapter and just stopped.
That's the thing, man. A lot of people try to read books, and if they're not interested in the
first, I was pretty interested.
Oh, you just stop?
I don't even know where it went.
Most people try to force themselves to read shit they're not interested in, and then
it fucking
hate
sucks.
reading. Yeah. Just don't do that.
Well, that wraps up the news.
Awesome. No, it doesn't wrap up the news. I have one more story.
Oh. So, yeah, tell me your story then. You fancy pants.
Fancy pants?
Go.
So, actually, it was kind of funny. I forgot that this was my second story, but it was funny that you mentioned the coronavirus in dogs before. Maybe you saw that, like a similar story or something, but this second news story is about a dog in Hong Kong has a low-level infection of the new coronavirus. I'm not really sure what that means, but hopefully it'll kind of elaborate as we go through it. So a pet dog in Hong Kong. So for all of you crazies out there that think they only eat dogs and cats in China, they actually have some pets.
Oh, my God.
But he has a low-level infection with the new coronavirus that the animal may have gotten from its owner, raising concerns that the virus currently spreading around the world can infect pets.
Uh-oh.
Well, you got it from a pet. You fucking psychotic Chinese people.
Making out with your dog.
No, it's because they're eating crazy shit, like bats in your soup, gigantic 3-pound bats in your soup.
Is that true?
Snakes. I'm pretty sure. Well, I mean, either you believe.
Don't be pretty sure.
Either you believe the story.
Don't be spreading those lies.
Well, either you believe the story that they're doing some sort of like scientific testing that lab, and then it got out or whatever.
Is that true?
Maybe, but also it could be the fact that the coronavirus is passed directly from. It can be passed directly from what you eat in animals to the humans. So like the fact that you can look up, like there's delicacy dishes that's just like gigantic bats that are basically just like boiled. Eat them in soup.
Boiled bat?
It is disgusting. All right, but
have you ever had it?
Only on Sundays, bud. It's the Lord's bat. So, but experts say it's only a single case so far, and there's currently no evidence that pets can actually get sick from the virus or pass it to people or other animals. We don't believe that this is a major driver of transmission. Maria von Kerhove, a technical consultant with the World Health Organization, the WHO, the WHO, said in a news conference on March 5th, it's only one example, and so, of course, it deserves much more study. She said, obviously, you dumb bitch. Sorry, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Idiot.
It was the way that they phrased it in this article. It was just like, okay, obviously.
Yeah.
Nasal and oral swabs from the dog whose owner was infected with the new coronavirus called SARS-CoV-2 because of its similarity with the 2003 SARS virus is tested weekly positive.
Wait. What does this have to do with COVID-19?
It's like a very
Corona.
I'm going to get there. Yeah, so it's the same thing. This is SARS-CoV-2 instead of COVID-19.
It's SARS.
It's kind of like a variation, I think. Though the animal wasn't showing any signs of disease, officials in China announced February 28th. Officials from China Agriculture, Fisheries, and Conservation Department isolated the dog in an animal facility in Hong Kong beginning February 26th, and then they cut it up and fed it to the rest of the people.
That's how
That's not in the article. These initial test results could have been the product of environmental contamination of the dog's nose and mouth as it sniffed and licked contaminated objects and not signs of the actual infection. But a subsequent test of nasal swabs on March 2nd, after the dog had been quarantined, was also positive. Okay, so they got double positive there. The dog still has not shown any signs of disease related to COVID-19. Another pet dog from another patient is also in quarantine, but is tested negative for the virus. So that's good.
So they don't have it.
Well, we'll see.
So can they get it or they cannot?
There's no current evidence to suggest that dogs can spread the new coronavirus to other dogs or to people, Chinese officials say, but who believes whatever the hell they're telling us?
They're lies.
As the dog's tests are only weekly positive, it could be a dead end, honestly, or a dead end host. Sorry. Meaning that the virus is not replicating at high enough levels in the dog to be transmitted to somebody else. Tests also rely on detecting small bits of the virus's genetic code, which does not measure whether infectious viral can affect another host. If another host is present. Researchers are now analyzing the genetic blueprint of the dog's virus to learn more about where it came from.
Wow, I'm more confused than ever, Scott. Thanks.
I know. Okay. So, in quotes, we need to establish quite clearly what part animals might play in transmission.
I don't know.
That's still unknown. Michael Ray, executive director of the WHO Emergencies Program, said on March 5th, news conference, but animals getting infected is not an unusual or unprecedented finding. It happens regularly with emerging diseases, he said. So the dogs, it's not uncommon for dogs to kind of catch emerging diseases.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It all came from a lab.
Could have, man. There are other coronaviruses that infect pets. In dogs, one type can cause intestinal disease, and another is part of a list of various bacteria and viruses responsible for kennel cough. While a vaccine is available for canine intestinal coronavirus, the American Animal Hospital Association does not generally recommend it, since the infection typically caused mild symptoms in young puppies and cleared up on its own. So coronavirus in dogs seem to just clear up on their own, especially the one that causes the kennel cough. Researchers reported in 2003 in Nature that cats could be infected with coronavirus. Who fucking cares about cats? I hope they all die.
Whoa!
Causes SARS or severe acute respiratory syndrome and transmit it to other cats in the same cage, but they didn't show any symptoms. Oh, so they're basically just carriers.
Yeah, they can't
It's like it's not really even affecting them.
Carriers, bro. They just fucking have it on them.
Yeah, what the hell? All right,
it just doesn't attack their fucking system.
Same was true for ferrets. Research found although the ferrets became sick, there's no evidence the pets played a role in the SARS outbreak. All right, so as a basic precaution, though, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention advises that pet owners who are sick should restrict contact with pets. Those who are ill and have to interact with animals should wear a face mask and wash their hands before taking care of their pets. Sweet. All right, so you know what? Maybe they can carry it.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty safe. I think this has probably been going on for a while, and just it's getting brought to light now, and it doesn't really matter.
I don't know. But, fun story about the coronavirus. So my manager at the hotel, him and the top manager, so it's like the manager and the assistant manager or whatever, go on this trip to Portland, Oregon, some company retreat, and come back with a severe respiratory illness.
Oh, yeah. Good God.
And still just showing up to work.
Good God.
Let's just go to the state that's next to the state that has been declared a state of emergency.
Yeah, no, whatever.
And just keep going to work with your cough.
Yeah, I mean, you can spread it, but as long as you're not spreading it to fucking real old people
that's the fucking
or
thing.
Infants, you're fine.
Well, that's the thing. It's everyone says oh, I'd still travel. It's cool. And you can get it and whatever, you die, no one's going to be oh no, he died because he traveled. But it's when you give it to the old person or the young kid and you start watching the death toll because you're the fucking guy that brought it to, your city. Good move.
Yeah.
You're that fucking guy.
You should feel kind of like a dick.
Stay home, you fucking dicks. Sorry, I'm getting mad now.
It'd be fine because you and I would both be fine.
Sad.
Don't get sad. All right. Well, everybody, that wraps up the Barkology Dog news for this week.
Yes.
A little bit different than we have done. Like I said, there weren't any food recalls or anything like that, but some interesting stuff. Science, viruses, dogs.
Sorry.
So we appreciate it. Follow us at Barkology Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and you can go to barkology.podbean.com. That's the website to find all of our episodes, but they're also on YouTube. Where else? YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, literally anywhere you want to listen to it. Stitcher, they're there. So go check us out and follow us. Love you guys. Do we do? I forget. Do we do?
Yeah, we do. Wag More.
Barkology.